So to start, I wanted to talk about communication and what a discourse community is. Basically, it's a place where people share common language and common goals in a community. When you look at a language and how it was formed, it's easy to see why the language in the community stuck around. The discourse community I chose was my workplace, Dion's. Dion's, if you didn't know, is a local pizza place. It's actually a chain throughout New Mexico. Two guys, John Patton and Bill Scott, traveled all the way from Michigan to Albuquerque in 1978. Their hopes were to open a Greek restaurant here in the local Albuquerque area. After a few complications with ingredients being shipped, basically they decided to go into the pizza industry and kind of randomly came up with the name Dion's, and it just kind of stuck around and continued from there. Dion's is a very unique place to work because of the language that is implemented on the very first day as a new employee. The language we use at Dion's works in a very powerful and direct way. It is so powerful it impacts employees in their lives outside of the workplace, as well as perfecting it inside the workplace. My coworkers Paige and Dominic are going to share with you some of the things we use our special language for behind the scenes of a regular customer experience.
I think in order to make things run more effectively, we shorten a lot of the things that we talk about. Like instead of saying pepperoni, you just say pep. And I feel like, a lot of the stuff that I'm drawing, like to answer your questions, are coming from me being on pies. And they're like running first board. You don't want to tell somebody like, I need you to make a large pepperoni sausage bacon pizza. You say like, pep sauce bacon. Give it. Like, bam. Here you go. And I don't know. I think being able to abbreviate our language makes things run more efficiently, like much more quickly. Because especially during a rush, you need things to go like bam, bam, bam.
It really does tie into that sort of language has been here for a very long time. The language has been here when I got here 7.5 years ago. The language was here when my first boss, Mike Davis, he got here almost 20 years ago. And it probably even started here when the owners opened up Dion's. It's very important because that's the culture we embed in people, and that's what Dion's originates itself with, basically. So.
I would imagine like the corporate people were like, let's figure out how to make things run efficiently and then establish the rules with like their, I don't know.
Came from the owners. I think just people, when they create a business, they really do make it their own, and they bring in their own words, and people who are educated differently bring in their own words. And so I think Bill and John, who went to amazing schools probably, up north where they came from, Montana or something like that they embedded a certain language down here in their own company. And so it started with them, and it's continued. So we call business a rush. Like, oh, be careful of the rush. We've got to stay ahead of the rush. But it's really the business that we have to stay ahead of. Now that I'm a training assistant, I train the new employees on their first day. And I always use the language that we use in the back, I use with them, and letting them know, well, this is what you're going to see. And so people, from their very first day they come in, are implemented with that language and the communication that we use in the back. Like certain words that we would use instead of outside language.
A customer comes up to the register and places their order, and that's where the register person goes through and like helps answer questions and establishes the order that gets written down in our like specific way, and then the transaction is made, and then the orders get run to whatever station the order calls for. So if, like I said, there's a pizza, sub, and slice, it'll go to pies, subs, and slices. And then from there, based on the time, the orders get made and like pushed out depending on what time it is. So if it's like a 20-minute order, we'll get it out within 20 minutes or earlier, usually. And if if it's a 10-minute order, we'll get it out in 10 minutes or earlier. And then from there, it gets reassembled at the serving counter by, I mean, ideally a serving person, but normally it's done by like the salads person or something, or the last person to finish the last item of food. And then it gets assembled, put onto their orderly trays, and then placed on the serving counter, and the order is called out. And bam, the person gets their food and is happy.
Alright.
There's a big process to make it stay organized. We always make sure that the name is gotten, the phone number is gotten. Yes, sometimes, unfortunately, they don't, get heard over the phone or anything like that. But we also make sure they're written on the right place on the ticket that we use, and also that they're run to the right station. And then even after the station, they have to be put on a rack in a certain place. So they stay organized to make sure we are always able to find that order.
I think what makes Dion's unique is the fact that there are so many opportunities within Dion's, like within the Dion community to grow. Like if you wanted to become an expert, you can. If you want to move up, you can like show that you want to do so, and then the people that are above you will allow those opportunities to fall into play.
Definitely. My name is Paige Bradley. I've been working here at Dion's for about 7 years and 4 months now. I have been an assistant manager, and then I have been an expert and also a training assistant. So you do not see in any other restaurants kids running around. Honestly, you don't. Like in a sit-down restaurant, you don't see kids running around other people and stuff like that. We brought that culture into our Dion's, into our company actually, and it started from the very beginning. We've always been very big home and comfortable and family oriented. So I think that's what makes it unique, and they can relax here. Some people call it a second home. So.
Well, I'm a very people-oriented person, so one of the things that pretty much gets me coming to work whenever I'm scheduled is I know that, like, I've made some great friends here. Like, we are like a family unit. Like, we all depend on each other. We have our little inside jokes, and I think that's really cool. Like, to be able to, like, to not be afraid to come to work because of the people.
The Dion's language really helps create a solid foundation for things to run smoothly on a daily basis. The Discourse community at Dion's makes it unique but also efficient. It's so important that the language we use is used by everyone throughout the 19 and counting stores. The language also reflects how Dion's is seen to its surrounding community, and that is fast and efficient. Thanks for letting me share my Discourse community with you.